Have you ever wondered why some married women seem to be the most accessible to certain men? How is it possible that someone who has taken vows of love and fidelity ends up seeking excitement outside of their marriage? Today, we're going to dive into a reality that few talk about, but is more common than you might think. Because behind every story of infidelity, behind every secret relationship, there is an uncomfortable truth that many prefer to ignore. And if you stay until the end, I guarantee you'll understand why so many married women end up being more accessible than they should be. In an ideal world, marriage is a sacred pact. A married woman should be a symbol of stability, commitment, and unwavering loyalty. But reality is very different because in the game of human relationships, there are unwritten rules that few people know about. And today, I'm going to reveal them. When a woman is single and looking for a partner, she plays smart. She makes herself hard to get, sets conditions, and seeks a man who can offer her stability and protection. She doesn't give in easily because she knows that what isn't obtained quickly holds greater value. She wants to be pursued, to be conquered, to see a man prove his worth. But once she finally gets what she wanted and gets married, the dynamic changes completely. The ring on her finger is no longer a symbol of being unattainable. For some men, it's actually a sign of opportunity, because now that she no longer has to prove anything, some women start looking for something different. Excitement, adventure, the feeling of being desired again. But here's the thing. When a man sees a wedding ring on a woman's hand, the logical reaction should be to take it as a warning. However, in many cases, it's quite the opposite. Paradoxically, some men know that a married woman can actually be more accessible than a single one. And what follows is a game of seduction where both get what they're looking for, with no major commitments. Statistics don't lie. According to surveys conducted in different countries, more than 60% of men have had an affair with a married woman at some point. And the most shocking part, in nearly half of those cases, the initiative came from her. Why does this happen? Why would a woman who already has stability and security in her romantic life risk it all for a fleeting affair? There are several reasons, but one of the main ones is boredom. Monotony is the silent enemy of any relationship. What was once excitement, adrenaline, and desire gradually turns into routine, obligations, and a predictable script where nothing surprises anymore. And while many women love their husbands, the feeling of being trapped in a life without excitement pushes them to seek new experiences. But it's not just about routine. Many times it's the lack of admiration. Because when a woman stops admiring her husband, she inevitably begins to desire him less. In the beginning, the man who won her heart was strong, determined, and ambitious. But over time, some men become complacent, too comfortable in the relationship, and that makes them less attractive in their partner's eyes. The irony is that the more a man tries to please her, the more likely he is to lose her respect. And when a woman stops respecting her husband, she starts looking at other men differently. It's not that she wants to replace him, but she seeks elsewhere what she no longer feels at home: excitement, desire, admiration. This is where the role of the men willing to play this game comes in. Men who understand that a married woman isn't looking for a serious relationship, just a distraction, someone who makes her feel alive again without demanding anything in return. And this creates a situation where both get what they want without any real emotional investment. But what many men fail to realize is that getting involved with a married woman isn't a path without consequences. Because even if it seems like a game at first, emotions eventually come into play. And when a man starts developing feelings for a woman who only sees him as a temporary escape, the situation becomes unsustainable. Because a married woman rarely leaves her husband for her lover. She's not looking for a new relationship. She's looking for a break from the monotony of her life. And when the man who shares this adventure with her starts demanding more, she simply pulls away. Because her priority will always be her stability, her family, her reputation. This leads us to an uncomfortable truth. Extramarital affairs aren't just about desire or dissatisfaction, they're about power and control. A married woman involved in an affair feels that she has complete control over the situation. She knows her husband provides stability, while her lover gives her the excitement she craves. And as long as she can maintain that balance, she has no reason to change a thing. But what happens when things go wrong? Because even though many women believe they can handle the situation without consequences, the reality is that most affairs end in disaster. A discovered message, a compromising photo, a confession made in a moment of weakness, and everything falls apart. And when that happens, the one who loses the most isn't her, but the man who allowed himself to be fooled into thinking he could have something more with someone who never intended to change her life for him. Because in the end, when they're cornered, most of these women will choose to save their marriage rather than risk losing everything for an affair. The lesson here is clear. When a man gets involved with a married woman, he is always the one at a disadvantage. Because even if it seems like a no-strings-attached situation with no real risks, the truth is that these games never end well. And more importantly, if a woman is capable of betraying her husband's trust, what makes you think she wouldn't do the same to you? The way a person handles their relationships says far more about their character than any words they might say. What comes next is even more revealing because we're going to dive into the signs that indicate when a married woman is looking for something more and how men can avoid falling into this dangerous game. Because if there's one thing you need to know, it's that no woman openly admits she's searching for something outside her marriage. It all starts with subtle signals, strategic moves that an experienced man can easily detect. The first sign is excessive kindness. We're not talking about normal politeness, but rather an attention that goes beyond what's typical. A married woman who is interested in someone outside her relationship will find any excuse to talk, to share personal details, to create an emotional connection that, at least in her mind, justifies what she's about to do. This is key because many of these women don't see their actions as immediate betrayal. They convince themselves that they're simply looking for friendship, for harmless companionship. But deep down, they know exactly what they're doing. Another important sign is subtle physical contact. We're not talking about something blatantly obvious, but rather small gestures. A brief touch on the arm, a hand lingering on your shoulder longer than necessary, a slight lean toward you during a conversation. These are movements that might seem insignificant to someone naive, but they hold a clear meaning for those who know how to read between the lines. But perhaps the most obvious sign is when a married woman starts speaking badly about her husband. This is an indication that she is looking for justification for what she wants to do. She will say that her marriage is dull, that her husband no longer values her, that she feels lonely and unappreciated. And this is where many men make the fatal mistake. They believe they can be the solution to her problem. If you ever find yourself in this situation, stop and ask yourself, do you really think you're the first person she has told this to? Do you truly believe you're the only one she has confided in? Because the reality is that many women who play this game use the same tactics with different men until they find one who takes the bait. And once a man falls for it, the game truly begins, because now she has complete control of the situation. She knows he is hooked, that he will do whatever it takes for her attention, and she will use that to her advantage. Sometimes it's just to feed her ego, other times it's to gain something more tangible. But in almost every case, the man is the one who suffers the most. What most men don't realize is that these women aren't looking to replace their husbands. They're not searching for a new love or a long-term relationship. What they want is an escape, a brief moment of excitement in their monotonous lives. And the moment the man starts asking for more, seeking commitment, hoping she will leave her husband for him, that's when everything falls apart. Because when a married woman is faced with the real possibility of losing her stability, of risking her family life for a fleeting desire, most will choose the safe option. She will walk away without looking back, leaving the man with the emptiness and frustration of having believed in an illusion. And this is where many men spiral into self-destruction. They wonder what they did wrong, why she left when everything seemed to be going so well. But the truth is, there was never a real chance. They were just a temporary distraction in the life of someone who never intended to give up everything for them. So, what can a man do to avoid falling into these kinds of situations? The first and most important rule: never get involved with a married woman. No matter how tempting the situation may seem, no matter how many excuses she gives you to justify her actions, if a woman doesn't respect her own marriage, she won't respect you either. Second, learn to recognize the signs and don't deceive yourself into thinking you're special. If a married woman gives you too much attention, constantly seeks you out, flirts subtly, understand that this is a well-calculated strategy. It's not a coincidence, and it's not an innocent mistake. It's a pattern that many repeat over and over again. Third, respect yourself enough to refuse to be someone's second choice. A man with true self-worth knows he doesn't need to involve himself in situations that will inevitably lead to pain and regret. Because in the end, the most important thing to understand is this: people don't change for love. A woman who betrays her husband's trust will not magically become a faithful and loyal partner with you. The way she treats her current relationship is a reflection of how she will treat the next one. And if you ever find yourself tempted to play this game, ask yourself what you're really gaining. A few moments of excitement in exchange for enormous emotional and sometimes even physical risk? Because stories of men who end up in serious trouble for getting involved with another man's wife are far more common than you might think. In a world where respect and loyalty have become increasingly rare values, it's crucial for men to learn to identify which relationships are worth pursuing and which will only bring problems. If you've made it this far, I want you to remember one thing. No matter how attractive the risk may seem, nothing is more valuable than peace of mind and dignity. Learn to recognize the signs, avoid traps, and stay firm on your path without letting temptation cloud your judgment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you seen these situations play out in real life? Do you know any stories of people who have fallen into this game? Share your experience, and let's keep exploring these topics together. See you in the next video.